Hello, this is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. Today I got to meet up with Joe. Joe has a really cool custom camping trailer that he tows with his Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. He's gonna give us a tour today of the whole package. So join us.
Hey Patrick, nice to see you today. Hello YouTube, my name is Joe, and this is my latest adventure toy. Known Patrick a long time. I'm an avid RV user. In fact, I just got rid of one last year. All in all, I've had about 13 RVs of every make and type, from the luxury motorhomes to the vans, fifth wheels, you name it, I pretty much had it. And this is the last iteration. I bought the Jeep first, had it working on it for about a year, well, actually a little more than a year now. There's nothing original left on this Jeep except the motor. So everything else has been swapped, everything from axles, you name it. There's nothing left in the thing except the body and the engine. So part of that, I wanted to use the Jeep for camping. Now, what's kind of neat is, I'll make this real quick. A couple of years ago, I was in the hospital, had a medical issue going on, and I was going to buy a Jeep, you know, and wasn't really sure. I just wanted a new truck, and so I decided kind of a Jeep. Then I stumble on YouTube, and I stumble across a bunch of people, you know, in Jeeps going off-roading and all of this and that, and that was it. That actually helped me recover from the hospital, believe it or not. So after 2 weeks in the hospital, first thing I did was make a beehive to my Wrangler dealer or Jeep dealer, bought the thing, and I knew damn well what I was going to do right from the beginning. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. So I'll explain why this, from big motorhomes and fancy RVs, why I went this route. The brand name of this trailer is called Tentrax. They've been around a long time. They have new owners for the last, I believe, 5 years or so, but they have been in the Jeep off-road community for a number of years. What you see here is a highly modified one that I pretty much designed the way I wanted it to meet my needs. Now, you have to remember, the way I designed this was somebody who comes from long camping background. I was in the military, I was a Boy Scout. Again, as I mentioned earlier, active RV user. So I have a lot of unique requirements, at least for my off-road adventures. I like to fish, I like to hunt, drink beer in the woods, right? So you need all the equipment for that, especially drinking the beer in the woods. So why don't we start from the back? So again, it's a Tentrax, and just some of the big features on it. It's riding on 27-inch all-terrain wheels. The wheels are actually matched to the Jeep, so I have, theoretically, 3 spares. So the hubs are the same. I could literally pull this wheel off and put it on the Jeep, and vice versa if necessary. It has an off-road suspension system, a timberless axle suspension that you can see underneath. It's set up, the suspension system, so that I can actually bring this trailer wherever that Jeep can go. Of course, it has brakes, full 7-pin wiring harness. On the back right here is a road shower, so it fills up with water, and it can be pressurized, whether it's with onboard air or through a simple Schrader valve, a bicycle pump if you wanted to. It actually works really well. It's made of aluminum, and it'll get blazingly hot. I mean, ridiculously hot. You have to actually monitor because it will scold you. That's why there's the temperature on here. It can get very, very, very hot. So in a nutshell, what we see here is it's all fiberglass. It's gel coat, black gel coat. You notice there's a rhino rack on top. And then there is a pretty much standard rooftop tent. It's a custom tent though for the trailer, comes from Tentrax. However, you can, if you bought just the trailer, you can actually add any other type of tent that you want, as long as it's one of these articulating types and not one of the ones that go straight up and down. So we just jump in. Since this is aluminum, I always just step on it. But a tent is a tent. But what's really nice about this one is the mattress is extremely comfortable. Lots of air, the whole back opens up, so you get lots of cross breeze. And then if you look in the ceiling, it's a whole skylight up there. So it's really nice at nighttime. And the mattress is pretty damn thick. It's a standard queen size mattress. These bungee cords that you see here, I won't remove them. As we fold the tent down, it actually brings the material in and helps collapse it all down without you having to stuff it all in. Again, really waterproof. A lot of, there's lights in here as well at nighttime. So I had it rigged up with USB lights. So it's kind of neat. I like it where it's really airy, and I like that screen roof, if you will, the skylight, because it doesn't make it feel like a tent, which is kind of neat. And it does have quite a few pockets on the inside. It also has shoe storage that goes towards the front of it. And again, you know, this pretty straightforward, but the trailer does come with a 2-step hitch mount type system. It's just kind of bulky, so I just leave it home all the time. And I like this better because it just folds up to nothing, and it's, you know, like less than half the weight. Weight is a big thing. The trailer opens up. It's got approximately 45 cubic feet of storage. A lot of people ask me, does it float? Yes, it floats. It will actually float. It's sealed. You can get to the trailer with the tent deployed. Imagine this would all fold down and rest on top like a regular tent. But the really unique thing about this trailer, even though you have your tent deployed, you can still get to the beer. I mean, all your camping equipment, the necessary stuff. Where is the beer? Should be in the refrigerator. But so we have lots of storage in here for all kinds of stuff. Of course, it has electric, etc. And what I keep in here is pretty much the junk I go camping with. Grills, you name it. I have it in here pretty much. This particular trailer is relatively new, so I don't have any organizational ability in it yet. I just throw my junk in there and then head out. What you see here, this gives it rigid structure when you close it. Okay, that's what these are for. They're just like big forms that go all the way down to the bottom. Storage on both sides. There's a wheel well here, obviously. But you have quite a bit of storage on both sides. One of the features that just became available, and this guy wound up getting, is a full water system as well. Even though I carry my water in the Road Trek shower, as well as Rota packs that I have connectors for. But I will be getting the whole water system with the pump, which is pretty neat. So that they just came out with that now. Standard colors are white, so they'll pretty much do any color you want. This is the black. I could point out options because, you know, there's the basic price of the trailer. All the things that you see on this trailer was an option, pretty much. Again, from black, the road shower, the tent is actually an option. You can buy it without a tent if you want. And we'll go through a bunch of other things as well. Right down here, in case you're wondering what these gold tabs are, there's a hose connector that connects to this spigot right here. And then it just folds here while you're traveling. And then from here, there's another connector that goes to a sink that connects to these Molly panels, which is kind of neat for when you're washing up. Continuing on to the back, a lot of people ask, what in the world is this all about? This is obviously it's a hitch. And I have another recovery access point here that I pull out. The nice thing about this hitch, you can actually connect a bicycle rack and other things as well. I don't put a bicycle rack on there. I put one of these on, so if I ever had to pull backwards, tow this trailer back from a tight spot, I have a recovery point. Just a word of caution, if you're ever with a trailer and you do get stuck, do not disconnect your vehicle. It's much easier to get your trailer out of a stuck situation with the vehicle connected. You might be wondering, how long does it take to actually get this all up and situated for camping? Typically what I do is I come into a site, I kind of like look at the lay of the land, I'll disconnect it from the Jeep. I very rarely will I have it connected to the Jeep. You undo the main straps, you unzipper the cover, pull it off. Now the cover is connected with like a C-channel. You can actually remove it from the front. I just keep it connected because I'm kind of lazy. And not only that, it's kind of convenient too. When it's raining, it's very easy to throw it over. Once you disconnect it, you connect the pry bar on the front, on the top, and then you can lift it up. There doesn't need much energy to actually lift it, so you're just using leverage. And once you actually tip it, you can actually hold it one hand and it comes right down. Once you do that, then you actually connect these things, and this just opens up the fly a little bit. Now this fly is removable. You can remove this. I tend to keep it on because when I go camping, it's always raining. But if you're out west, let's say maybe Nevada or California, I hear it never rains in Southern California. So you could remove the fly and not have to use it. And it's relatively easy to get it back on if you need it. But then again, I keep it on, and I've been in a pretty good downpour in this thing, and it was bone dry. What's nice about it is if you're putting it up while it's pouring, which I have done, since this is so much bigger, it actually keeps everything dry. So it's pretty neat. So the way I close it up, all you have to do is this will lay down on it and then just pop one of these into space, and you'll actually get an absolutely dry tent while you're opening it, in a downpour. I also have a table that goes over here. So going around the front, these are the TerraFlex Nomad wheels. So what's nice about these is there's two connectors. One is for airing down. So I already have it configured for when I want to air down really fast. I just disconnect this and it airs down right down to about 15 PSI for these wheels right here, because they're not a bead lock. This is just a rash ring to protect the aluminum when you go, you know, you can trash this and replace them when you need them versus trashing the aluminum. And of course, this is just for pressurizing your tires and checking pressure. The tent itself has red rock lights underneath it, as well as white rock lights. A lot of people ask, why red for me? I do a lot of astronomy, me and my siblings, and we'll have a lot of telescopes. It's one of the reasons, too, when we went with something like this. We'll fill this up with a lot of astrophotography gear, beer as well. And at nighttime, you know, when it's really dark, you're going to want that red light to keep your night vision. And at the same time, it also helps keep the bugs away, too, for normal camping. So it's kind of cool at nighttime with the red. And then, of course, we have white. White rock lights are really handy when you're camping, especially in the desert. You don't want to be coming out of your trailer and or your vehicle and stepping on a critter. You know, scorpion, rattlesnakes, they do exist out there. So yeah, you keep the lights on at night and you're less likely to see uninvited guests. Coming across over here towards the front, I use Zargis aluminum boxes. So what I typically store in here is stuff that I need right away when I go to set up a campsite. I don't have to open up this. I can get to it like tent pegs, hammer, things like that. Things that you would want to get right away. I also keep tarps in here. In the event it's pouring, I can get dry area up and quick without having to open up the anything at this point, right? Which is really important. I've been down that road before. So yeah, in here, the Zargis boxes are all waterproof, pretty secure, they're pretty damn indestructible. So it's pretty handy. Now, you know, as I was mentioning options on the trailer, this platform is standard. The rock lights, obviously not. 37-inch wheels are not. The timber and axle suspension is not. You do get regular wheels, of course. You don't get a lot of these features that you see here. But you can get a very nice trailer at a nominal cost that will meet your needs. Now, this is really geared for a lot of off-roading and some other special things as well, as we'll take a look. But by no means do you need to build a trailer like this, because this, you know, at this point, everybody's wondering, okay, how much does this damn thing cost? It costs a lot, to be quite honest, but it does a lot, right? So you don't have to spend this kind of cash. I guess I should tell them because they're gonna want to know. So this trailer out the door, taxes, registration, everything that you see on it was $20,000. But you don't need to spend, again, anywhere near that. Now, big part of the expense is, if you notice, this is a stainless steel box that's been powder coated black. Again, that's an option, just the box itself, and it's waterproof too. And what I have inside here is a full electronics package, including a marine grade lithium ion battery. I don't know if you can see it. It's 100 amp hours. So this thing will cook your booty if you inadvertently touch it the wrong way. Let me get the hell out of there. And it's got a, you know, solar. It's got inverter charge. It's all Victron. It also accepts 120 volt in, as well as obviously through the inverter, 120 volt out. I have folding solar panels, so we have the ZAMP connector right here. Then we have the smart shunt here. We could do 120 coming in and 120 going out, which is really nice. We have USB charging all the rest of it from high-speed B, C, lights on the inside, rock lights, and then of course inverter. Now the people ask, well, why inverter? You know, you're going off-road. Why all this highfalutin nonsense in here? Well, I've been camping a long time, and I'll tell you what, I could put this trailer in any type of camping situation and be a happy camper. And what do I mean by that? If I happen to be at a campground that has power, like RV power, I can plug in and charge all my batteries. There's one big battery in here, there's a lithium in the Jeep as well, and then there's an AGM in there as well. So I can charge everything with shore power. In here is a charge controller that also talks to the Jeep. So as I'm driving, I can charge the batteries via the alternator as well. So I can charge via 200 watt solar panels that I have. I can charge with 120 as well as charge with the Jeep, which is kind of really neat in a way, because sometimes I'm out, there's no power, no power at all. So I have solar panels that keep this thing really topped off well. And with 100 amp hours, that'll charge your iPhone quite a few times. So much so that, you know, I've tried percolators, I've tried all kinds of coffee makers, and to be honest, they all suck. The only ones that I like are the El Cheapo ones that I buy from Walmart. They cost about 15 bucks, and they make the world's greatest coffee, but it's electric. And believe it or not, I put an inverter in just to run that, because unless I have a coffee the way I want it in the morning, I'm not really a happy camper. Not to mention I can, you know, some of the astrophotography equipment is 120 only, so we plug into that. So it's kind of nice to, you know, to be able to have varying power requirements as well as needs. And not to mention, if you put this in a garage, you know, it's kind of neat to have it plugged into the wall, keeping your battery always topped off. That's really important, because over the course of about 15 years of RVs, lots of them, I've probably destroyed at least 10 very expensive batteries. Yeah, it was not fun. Now, you do get some electric package, some electrical package. They have a base package. You'll get a battery, obviously. You know, I believe the default is white, if I'm not mistaken. And there's also one thing I need to point out. Tentrax makes a wonderful product, but they actually make two trailers. If anybody's interested, you want to take a look. So this one here is called the Overlook, and it's meant to have a rooftop tent like this. Okay, now I had put a Rhino rack on here, but you don't get a Rhino rack, so now you can see where the cost starts coming up. I did all stainless steel hardware instead of the standard hardware. Why? Because, well, with RVs, I've had screws rusting out, so I got tired of that real fast. So all of the screws on this thing are all stainless steel. The other model that they have, it looks like this. However, what's really unique about it, it's really a unique product, is the tent is incorporated into the lid of the trailer. So if you picture this structure inside here, so when you actually open it up, the tent opens up for you. And then when you close the lid, it closes. And it has so that's a really nice, unique feature. The tent looks very similar to this. It's a little bit smaller, but more than enough for two people. And the really unique feature about that particular tent is you can get inside the trailer from within the tent. So there are two main models. Both are just as capable. It's just really a preference. I like this because I think my next project is going to be I miss my van. So I think I'm going to do a custom van. And one of those, you know, if you ever had a van, space is a real premium. So this guy here will be the trunk of the van that I build. So and that's why I went with this, because I could always remove the trailer, the tent from the trailer. I could put it back. I could put kayaks up here. I could put canoes, bikes, anything I want. Maybe I get tired of this thing, or it gets damaged or something in a few years. Or maybe I want another model. I could pull this off and put another one on, which is kind of neat. Or, you know, maybe I want to do something totally different. But I'll always keep this because I found that having a trailer like this is pretty handy for vans as well as Jeep Wranglers because they have no space in the things. A lot of people always ask too about the hitch. I always seem to get questions on the hitch. Is if you take a look, it's not a standard 2-inch ball hitch. This is also an option too. With the Jeep, you do get a standard ball hitch. This is what is known as a lock and load hitch. So basically, it's a 3D articulating hitch. So the Jeep will never get disconnected from the trailer. So they have independent movement in other ones. So if the Jeep is yawing one way, this guy could be going another way. So they will actually twist like this without disconnecting. And if you notice, you can't come up off the ball as if you would. Like when I came off of that deep rut, if we were on a ball, this thing would have been off and into that river. So this prevents that. Now, if you go with this option, the nice thing about this is you notice that the drawbar disconnects from the body. So that does two things. One, I can put in a 2-inch ball drawbar, which is kind of nice. So if you want to tow this with something other than a 3D type hitch here, this lock and load hitch, you can. And also at the same time, if you remove this draw, I put a locking pin, you can't tow the trailer. So it makes a very nice, convenient security mechanism. So if you notice that, right, we pull this out, and this is key to the Jeep, and just put it back, there's no way to tow this thing. So it's kind of like going to stay there unless you're going to carry it off. Oh, so real quick, dry weight of this thing is about 600 pounds, dry weight, without those wheels. It's going to be a little more with those wheels, 600 pounds without all of this stuff in here, and without the box. So with the junk I got, we're looking at approximately a half a ton, 1,000 pounds, roughly, which is still pretty good because even a little guy like me, I could still lift this by the draw bar here and actually move it. So it's a little bit of a struggle for somebody like me, but because I'm a small guy, right? But if you're, Patrick, you'll be able to do this pretty easy if you're a little stronger. But I managed to move it, which is kind of nice. So don't need to do that. But obviously, if you're going off-road, you obviously need a hitch like that. And there's also comes with the 2-ball, a regular ball hitch as well. So I think that's pretty much it. There is obviously a foot right here that I took off. Level the trailer. I also have stabilizers for it. So when I set up, I level the whole thing. And then I put down a stabilizer. That obviously goes all the way down. And then I have levels back here, and I can make it nice and level. I also use some of those RV leveling blocks, the plastic ones. You can get this thing pretty pretty level. So typically the way I'll set up, and we'll see it in a second, is the Jeep and the back of the Jeep and the back of the trailer are parallel to one another. And there's a reason being because in the back here is the kitchen as well as the refrigerator on its own slide. So typically I put them back to back, and I have everything I need. And since this is easy enough to maneuver, it's easy to do it that way. So you get to a site, kind of look the way you want. I can unhitch, physically move the trailer very easily instead of getting frustrated. Backing up with a trailer could be a problem, especially with a single axle. So it's easy enough to move. And then I'll put this right alongside it and let the good times roll. So now I'm just going to close up the trailer. And this is a normal rooftop tent. This is where your ladder would be connected. So as you flip it off your truck, and if you notice, as I said earlier, it's pretty straightforward. But, if you're short like me, you just use a little innovation, that's all. There you go. If we start off from the back, it's got 37-inch wheels. These are genuine bead locks. I'm the kind of guy who gets flats all the time. Literally. It doesn't matter. I will get flats. In fact, just happened this weekend on a rental car, which really was annoying. Anyway, 37-inch wheels on bead locks. These are all-terrain Nitto trail grappler tires. The bumpers are LOD, and the reason I went with this bumper is because you can add all of this nonsense to it. So this right here is to hold rotopacks, either for water or fuel. There's special containers for those who may not be aware. Kind of a pretty unique locking mechanism. It attaches to this thing right here, and then you can actually screw it in place. So it's a really good way to carry fuel. Up here is just a rack to hold stuff. So if I run out of room in here, or the trailer, which I have, I could throw things up there. The nice thing about this, you could remove it. So if you don't want it for certain trips, it's easy enough to remove. Likewise for these, there are different types of attachments that LOD makes. So I use the Rotopacks on here for the outside. That's why I don't have them on the trailer. I'm gonna open this up. So at the back of the Jeep, I have a goose gear plate floor system, as well as a Dometic refrigerator. I use Snow Peak, the brand from Japan, for all of cooking. Like, this is a stove, and there's a special table that I have that comes out and turns the whole place into a hibachi. It's pretty cool. So that's kind of neat. So this is why, as I was saying earlier, I will take the back of the trailer and the back of the Jeep, and I'll put them side by side. So I have the refrigerator, storage. This is also a table that folds down, which is kind of neat. And don't forget, this wouldn't be connected, so this wouldn't be in your way. So this turns into a table, and there's a cutting board. And of course, we have storage here and more storage there. The Jeep itself has no back seats. When the kids moved out, that's when the seats went too. Don't need them. Don't need the kids, don't need the seats. Want to open this up? So of course we have the full complement of off-road recovery gear, jacks. You notice there's a floor system in here as well. On the other side is the Jeep has its own lithium battery, onboard air compressor as well. There's two S-Pods, so everything is controlled by the front S-Pod that's connected to the rear S-Pod, and it connects all 28 lights. Stereo system that I put in myself. It doesn't have a... Also has ham radio. I'm an avid ham radio person. It's one of the reasons why we have lots of power. One of the things I'm going to be doing is putting a bigger radio in there versus only the 50 watt. So I'm going to have a bigger one. So of course it has full complements of lights. The lifts, a 3.5-inch lift system, Terraflex Alpine short arm, with metal cloak springs on the front, aluminum fenders. It just goes on and on and on. This is axles have all been replaced. The whole nine. In fact, the brakes had to be replaced too. Front bumper is also LOD. It's got a 12-ton winch, probably 2 more tons than I need, but I've been stuck before, and it's no fun, and I always rather have more truck and more winch than I need. I've been in pretty deep water to the point where I had to change the diaper, and that was after I mean, look at my height. I'm only 5'3". I can't even go in that deep water. I mean, shit, this thing is almost as, look at that. It's pretty cool, huh? So after I craft my pants, that first deep water cross, I made sure I got one of these things put in. Let's see what else is. Even portable ham radio in there. These here are steps to get to the top of the roof because, I can't reach when I wash it. I was going to put a rooftop tent up there, but then I realized the center of mass would be so high, it would be kind of silly. So in here I have ready for a barbecue at a moment's notice, huh? This stuff is awesome for a barbecue right here. Oh yeah. So in here we have storage for tools, and then in here is another lithium-ion battery with the second S-Pod. I'm actually cleaning that up right now, but it's fully functional. Onboard air over there. This guy here will power the refrigerator for days on end. It's also this one is also 100 amp hours, so that'll run that refrigerator for a long time, as well as all the other electronics in there as well. The stereo actually pulled out, the original stereo. I yanked the entire thing out. A word of caution to anybody who wants to do that their Jeep: getting out the front speakers, you literally will pull apart the entire dash, and I had to do that. But it does sound good now, though. So what else did I add in this? I mean, it's got a 120 as well, the Jeep will take. So the Jeep also has its own 120 system connected to the battery, so I can actually plug it in front of the house, keep these guys topped off as well as those. The suspension is the TerraFlex, whatever the hell they call it, 3 something or another. But it runs really well. It's worth getting. Especially brakes. One of the things, the car that I traded my Jeep in for was a BMW M4. So this thing had massive brakes. I mean, these things were stupid big. And I love the stopping power. You just look at it, the car stopped. This guy, right out of the showroom, those brakes weren't worth a damn. And then when I put these guys on it, first thing I did was turn it around and go buy some brakes, because there's just no way. You don't have the stopping. Forget about the trailer, even though it's only 1,000 pounds. So when you have rotational mass like that, you really need some strong braking power. So I put in the TerraFlex Delta brake system, which replaces the calipers, the rotors, everything. And now it has pretty decent stopping power. Not great, but decent. I mean, truck needs a lot more brake power.
So thank you very much for taking the time today to give us a tour of your Jeep and Tentrax trailer combo. Some of our viewers might not be familiar with this company, and maybe they want to understand a little bit more of the buying process.
Sure.
How does it work? Do you visit their plant? Do they have dealerships? Do you custom build it online?
So the way it worked for me was probably like most people. I was looking to do a custom teardrop at the time. And then I was like, yes and no. I was really on the fence with it. And then, mindlessly searching the web, I came across this. And what struck me with this, the video that I saw, was Brent, the owner, dragged this thing across the Rubicon Trail, which is pretty rigorous trail for even a modified Jeep, let alone a trailer. And that thing just went bouncing all over the trail. I mean, it was great. I was like, wow, that's what I need, one of those. So took a look at the website and all of this and that, and I liked what I saw. But, I never seen one myself. So I literally just drove to North Carolina from New Jersey. So I had to take a look. I'm not going to spend that kind of money unless I see it kick the tires, so to speak. So I went, looked, liked what I saw, not only in the product itself, but in the, to me, the relationship with the owner is important, right? I mean, it's really important because it's this individual who's building this item for you. So we hit it off. He's an engineer like myself. That's what I do for a living. And he was great to work with. Went on their website. I pretty much all the things that I wanted, and constantly called them, say, what about this? What about that? What about this? So it was really great is that they worked with me to give me exactly what I wanted. So after he listened a lot, kind of knew the kind of camping that I do. So I do a lot of different eclectic type camping. One day I might be in a campground with full electric. Another time I could be something like this out in the middle of nowhere with no power. So I wanted a trailer that I can drag almost anywhere, and regardless of the scenario, I'm still going to be comfortably camping, so to speak. And then I gave him a deposit, and that was it. Waited to build. And one of the things that was also attractive to me was the wait time. A lot of the teardrop trailers that I looked at were really nicely built. I mean, you would be waiting till your teeth fall out by the time you got one. We were looking at 9 to 12-month wait times. And, there's an old saying that I saw in a restaurant once, that good food takes time, but that was kind of a bit of a long time. So it took 6 months to get this one. So the basic process is there's an online form at the website. You pick all your things, they'll give you a quote. You mail them the deposit. And that's it. You're in the queue and they'll build it.
And then if someone didn't want to take it to this far extreme, you mentioned a base trailer. I guess it's just like going out and buying a Jeep Wrangler from a Jeep dealer, and you could go later on, save up some money, and go nuts. You could pretty much do that with this. You could just start off with the base trailer, add special rims and tires later, the tent, everything.
You don't need to do it day one.
What does the base one start at?
If I remember correctly, the base is $7,000. It's white, and you get a full trailer. You don't get and I'm talking about this model. The other model starts a little higher because the tent is all incorporated. So this one, the tent is not incorporated. And you could add your own or don't add one. It's up to you. It's like, I think, $7,000 with basic, no tent on top, standard wheels.
Standard axle.
Standard axle, yeah. Standard 2-inch ball, if you will. A couple of amenities, and then you can just add from there.
That's good, because if someone doesn't have the budget to take it this far, they can start off, and then as things progress,
and most people, that's what they do. Yeah, you don't. I mean, there are things that you might want to do early, like, for example, if you're going to pull it with a Wrangler, having it the same hub for the Jeep, that you want to do now, because later on you're not going to be able. You're going to have to replace the whole hub, so you're better off spending the little bit of money up front.
For like the axle.
Yeah, you don't have to get the wheels. You could always get those later, but at least when you're ready, you can just put those tires on.
That's a really good tip, and really all it is a chassis rail, an axle, and then their fiberglass tub. So their production time is mostly in the fiberglass tooling.
Yeah.
Therefore, that's why their lead time is so low. I'm sure they're having supply chain problems just like everybody else right now.
Yeah.
But outside of that, that's how they're able to build them fast. Well, that's really, really, really cool idea. Now, can you tell us a little bit about the adjustment you had to make on a lifestyle standpoint, going from your camper van you had previously to this? What were some of the things you're like, oh, I wish I had this, I wish I had that?
Well, I'll tell you what, every RV I've ever had a bathroom, shower, this kind of thing, And I knew this one wasn't going to have one, and so I was going to do the porta potty type thing. I was like, let's give it a roll. What the hell, right? And
is that what the shovel's for?
No, I got one of these portable porta potty things, and I figured, when nature calls in a real emergency, I'd rather have that than anything else, than nothing at all. And I went camping to a campground that I thought, some off-road campground that I thought would have facilities. So I left the old porta potty home type thing, right? And when nature called, I had to use a porta potty. Well, good heavens. To be quite honest, I'd rather just go in my own pants. I literally jumped in a Jeep and made a beehive to a McDonald's somewhere. I just couldn't use those things. So that was a real lifestyle adjustment. So now I carried a porta potty regardless. And that was the only real lifestyle adjustment. Oh, and one other too. The RVs I've owned for years all had heat and air conditioning, of course, right? There's no heat, there's no air conditioning in this thing. So depending on how you handle the heat, you may not be comfortable in a tent, right? I mean, I'm kind of used to it because I've done it for years, but I know my wife won't like it. If it's like a hot day like this, no, she's like, go pound sand. I'll meet you at the hotel.
And that's a good tip, because we see in the RV industry a lot of people coming from the tent camping, like setting up a tent on the ground, to the RV, and some of them just want to get off the ground. So this will be perfect for that buyer.
Oh yeah.
And some of them actually want to have their own bathroom facility, shower, a regular mattress. So there's different comfort levels, and there's different products made for different buyer expectations. So although this particular model or this style might not be for everybody, they have a niche market.
Oh, no doubt.
I'm sure they're doing extremely well, and they have a loyal customer base, but their buyer's expectation is to be able to go out off the beaten path, make sure the trailer makes it there, and that's why you have all this rugged off-road.
Yeah.
And be able to enjoy the outside. Look at this. We're on a beautiful river right here.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to get most RVs and things like that. And this is the open spot, right?
Yeah.
When you start getting into the thick of it, the typical RV is not going to make it. And if you get in there, you may not get out, right? So yeah, that's true. A lot of this kind of camping is not for everybody. I've done it, all different ways, right? So I'm having a real good time with this. Will I always be sleeping in a tent like this? Probably not, but I certainly wanted to try, and it's been a lot of fun. And that's why I went with this model, because I know me, right? I've owned 13 RVs, and I guarantee you this isn't going to be the last contraption I put together. But I love the fact that I can remove this tent. And, you know, we just sold, we had a Road Trek Adventurous, the wife and I, we just sold it. And to be honest, we kind of regret it. You know, we kind of liked our van. It was so cool to jump in and go anywhere, and it had everything. So I think next year we're going to build a van. And the Jeep is already outfitted to be towed, and it can tow. So with the van in the stable, I think I'm going to have my cake and eat it too. I can tow the Jeep behind the van. So for hot, steamy days like this, we got the van. Who cares? If we're going to go on a long road trip, because we're going to go up to Canada, the wife and I, we're going to tow this behind to put her shoes, more than likely, you know. And I'll get the cooler for beer. And that'd be great. And then, you know, if I want to tow this behind the Jeep, I can. So yeah, I really have that mix, if you will. So, and then what's really nice about this too, I have friends that are all campers too. And if they want to borrow the trailer, I could put the 2-inch ball on there for them, and off they can go. They could use the tent, you know, it's not a big deal. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. And you can get a really nice trailer, well built, without having to really, you know, break the bank, right? And if mom and dad are sleeping up here, it's very easy to set up a really nice tarp, a big one, a couple of really cool tents for the kids, and life is good. You don't have to spend a crap load of money. I mean, I've had pop-up tents. They're fun. The old Coleman pop-ups, they're a blast, but at the same time, they're not going to go where you can go with this. And even those, they're, you know, what, 2,000-3,000 pounds, depending on the model? They're pretty heavy. This guy here, dry weight, 600 pounds. You could tow this thing with a Purus, practically.
Now, I like the fact that it floats.
Yeah,
I mean, just the tires,
float.
all that air in there alone. But this river, if you look across the river here, this river at the deepest point is about 3 foot right there.
That's it?
So you could literally drive your Jeep and the trailer across.
Yeah.
And if it did get to a deep spot, this would float through.
Yeah, it would float through.
Would you be able to let our viewers know how do they follow this company if they wanted to inquire about one?
Sure. So the name of the company is Tentrax. You can go to tentrax.com, to their website. They also have a YouTube channel and a Facebook page as well. The owner is Brent Nelson, awfully nice guy. I mean, he'll work with anybody. I really enjoyed working with him, building mine. I know other people have enjoyed it as well. There's also a Facebook owners page. A lot of people share their mods, which is really neat. Some people are really innovative. Just like the last guy on your show who built that trailer. That was a really nice job that guy did, you know. So Tentrax.com. Brent Nelson is the proprietor owner. YouTube page, Facebook page. You check them out, you know.
Well, I'll make sure I link to them in the description. Joe, thank you very much for taking the time to meet me here today on this extremely hot day with no wind. But we're here. We're doing it. Well, this is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like this video, comment, share, and subscribe. I love it. We'll see you soon.